Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. May I request you to kindly settle down? May I request all of you to kindly settle down and put your phones to silent? I, Alok Bansal, Director India Foundation, welcome you all to the fourth edition of Counter-Terrorism Conference that India Foundation has been organizing for last 4 years. We began in a humble way in 2015 in Jaipur, and we have come a big way. The conference this year will be focusing on changing contours of global terrorism, and we'll be starting in about 2 minutes time. So I'll request all of you to kindly settle down. We're just waiting for Honorable Minister to arrive. He's in the hotel itself. He's coming here in a minute, and we'll be starting with the conference keynote. There has been slight change in the program today, and we'll now be beginning with a conference keynote session, which will be chaired by Shri Jayant Sinha, and the main speaker will be Shri Rahmatullah Nabil, former Director, National Directorate of Security, Afghanistan, and this will be followed by the inaugural session, and that will be followed by a dinner being hosted by the Honorable Chief Minister of Haryana. May I now request our keynote speaker, Mr. Rahmatullah Nabil, former Director, National Directorate of Security, Afghanistan, to come onto the stage, please. Shrishti. I'll now request Shri Jayant Sinha, Honorable Minister of State, Civil Aviation, and Director, India Foundation, to come onto the stage. I'll now request Shri Jayant Sinha to take over the session and chair the session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bansal. We are very pleased this evening to welcome the former National Security Advisor of Afghanistan to this session. And we are all very eager to hear his comments and his speech on the national security scenario, not just in Afghanistan, but more broadly in the region and certainly for South Asia. I think this session is a great way to start off this counter-terrorism conference, because much of what we have to deal with pertains to issues across the region and how they permeate across not just South Asia, not just the Indian Ocean region, but how they emanate from here to the rest of the world. So this is a great way for us to begin to consider some of the themes that you all will be discussing in more detail for the next 2 days, and learning from the National Security Advisor about the challenges and the issues facing Afghanistan and the region will be a great way for us to begin to engage on these very important debates. So with that very short introduction, I'm very pleased to welcome the former National Security Advisor of Afghanistan to come and give his comments. We will then take a few questions from the audience and try and make it an engaging and interactive session. And once that is completed, we will then have the inaugural session with the Honorable Union Home Minister, the Honorable Finance Minister of Nepal, and the Honorable Chief Minister of the state of Haryana. Thank you very much, and on to the National Security Advisor.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Good evening. Ladies and gentlemen, let me start by expressing my appreciation to the sponsor of this conference for the gathering, especially to the Indian Foundation and Bureau of Police Research and Development in the Ministry of Home Affairs. It is an honor to be able to share with you some of my thoughts and observations on the topic that has been discussed much often, and yet we remain distant from finding enduring solutions. Unfortunately, Afghanistan is not stranger to the tragedy of the last 4 decades. I was in 7th grade when the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan, and have been witness to many cycles of instability since then. Just to put in perspective, 6% of entire Afghan population have been killed, 10% suffered from physical disabilities, 20% fled the country, and 35% of our population were direct subjects of 4 decades-long conflict. Imagine applying these numbers to the population of other countries in our region. Today, Afghanistan and the region face many security challenges. Therefore, I will confine my remark on one key external factor and one internal factor for the region. While Pakistan is a major source of instability for Afghanistan and wider region, however, it is not the only one, so I will also address an alarming internal instability factor in Afghanistan as well. The United States and international community declared the war on terror after the 9/11 attacks. Many countries and nations from around the world joined the US to fight terror and bring the Al-Qaeda leadership to justice. Today, nearly 17 years, 6,000 days as of last Monday, have passed since the start of the war in Afghanistan. Thousands of soldiers and civilians have lost their lives and billions of dollars spent. While terrorism is not only far from being eliminated, but has entered further strengthening flourish into new complex shape and form in our societies as well as across the world. Pakistan played an important role in these catastrophic failure simply by using religious extremism and terrorism as foreign policy tools. Pakistan has not been a reliable ally of the international community. Its army and intelligence continue to play a double game with the international community on fighting terrorism and extremism. Their primary goal in any efforts related to terrorist networks with the international community, in particular with the US, is manipulating the coordination to its own regional interest, curbing both Indian and American influence in the region. In terms of limiting the US presence influence in the region, particularly in Afghanistan, Pakistan gained at least two major strategic objectives. First, through secretly supporting terrorist networks such as the Taliban, Haqqani network, and their Pakistani-based extremist allies, it's restoring the consolidation of a strong Afghan state, one that can effectively ally with the US and other regional forces. The US war in Afghanistan has been a source of revenue for Pakistan, and it will remain so as long as the US remain dependent on Pakistan in the absence of a strong Afghan government. This is only possible if the conflict in Afghanistan continues endlessly. Pakistan is not only one of 9 countries with nuclear weapons, it's also a hotbed of global jihadists, where the military and intelligence service use terrorist network to advance their regional goals. Those Pakistanis with the most knowledge of country's nuclear program are among the most worried ones. Considering that, Pakistan also believes that if their relation with the US deteriorated to a level of whereby Pakistan will have to become an open enemy, the only other alternative ally in the region will be Afghanistan, from where the US can stage operations to seize Pakistan nuclear weapons, the same as the Osama bin Laden raid that US carried out from Afghanistan. In addition, Pakistan enjoys a geographic leverage over a landlocked territory of Afghanistan that depends on the sea access on either Pakistan or Iran. While knowing that Iran will also not genuinely open its seaports to Afghanistan as long as the Americans are present in Afghanistan. Pakistan will continue to use its geographic continent of Afghanistan as a tool to influence the course of events in Afghanistan to its own regional strategic interest. All of these factors also benefit Pakistan in terms of curbing the Indian influence in Afghanistan and the region. India is keen on using Afghanistan as a route to gain to Central Asia natural energy resources, something that both China and Russia have concerns about. Both countries have vested interest in aligning with Pakistan to continue doing whatever it can minimize the US and India influence in Afghanistan in the wider region. The Pakistani intermingled military and intelligence institutions, fearing the strategic encirclement by India, have been utilizing religious extremists and terrorism to fight India in Kashmir and use the same tool to keep Afghanistan unstable or dependent on Pakistan political support. According to the ISI, the nightmare of strategists is the fight an enemy, means India, on two fronts. One on their border with India along the Kashmir region and another in Afghanistan. This very short-sighted and closed belief by the Pakistani military and ISI, seeing Afghanistan only as a second Indian front against Pakistan, combined with the exaggerated fear of India, has been one major factor on which Pakistan has based its strategy that use religious extremism, militancy, and terrorism as a tool to fight India. They have ignored that this could one day turn against them, making Pakistan, the region, and the entire world for more unstable than the pre-9/11 era. The last 17 years, during which Afghanistan established multilateral relations with the rest of the world, has badly irritated the Pakistani army and intelligence. They have been trying and will continue to try hard to restore the past status quo over Afghanistan, oblivious of the fact that those days are gone and will never return again. The strategies that they used to achieve this objective have already backfired instead of establishing control over Afghanistan. They are about to lose control of their own affairs and territory, and rouse jihadist, extremist, and separatist groups that they have created or provoked by themselves. Pakistan wants to be treated as sovereign state, and while sovereignty confers certain privilege on state, it also confers responsibility. Pakistan wants the world allowed to deal with the extremist group as it sees fit and continue with their double game. When Osama bin Laden resides in one country for years in military garrison town a few miles from a Pakistani equivalent of West Point, when many extremist and terrorist groups established bases and operate with complete freedom of movement and have sanctuaries, and when there is ample evidence that states one with over 100 nuclear weapons is not sincere about dismantling the terror groups, then what is the U.S. prepared to do to meet its own national security interest? If the U.S. acts, would U.S. allies follow? If the U.S. were to designate Pakistan as a state sponsor of terror? A test for Pakistan's sincerity in the war on terror is not whether they arrest a senior member of Afghan Taliban that they have lost control over, or one that is in the process of reaching out to the Afghan government, but instead sincerely in reflecting when Pakistan reacts and acts towards individuals such as Hafiz Saeed with 10 million US bounty on his head, or the groups such as Lashkar-e-Taiba, which boasts many members who have close family members in the Pakistan army. In recent resurrection of the MMA and a coalition of Pakistani religious-oriented groups created by Pakistani military that assisted the Taliban in early 2002 as they retreated from Afghanistan in the attempt to mainstream Hafiz Saeed by Pakistani military shows their true intention of deliberate support to radical extremists and extremist groups. Yes, on occasion, they may turn over a terror suspect to the US, but it does in a retail fashion, not wholesale. They may seek to obtain recognition of fair man with some well-timed gesture and conduct through more often Pakistanis arsonists. The level of support that the many extremist groups in AfPak theater receive from formal and informal sector in Pakistan clearly provide the point. Let me conclude my remarks by stating it's essential in order to have an enduring solution to the region challenging on the security front, dismantling the infrastructure for terrorism and extremism that receive material support from the formal and informal sector in Pakistan should be the key focus. That is generational game changer, not some type of peace and deal with the Taliban. Even if somehow a peace deal is reached with the Taliban, unfortunately, that will not deliver stability in Afghanistan, as other Islamist extremist groups will continue to be a proxy for Pakistan. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much for a very interesting and enlightening talk. We'd like to throw the floor open for questions now. Please raise your hand. There's a mic that will find you. Please introduce yourself and then ask your question briefly and directed at the National Security Advisor. Thank you very much. I think there's a gentleman in the back over there. If you can just get the mic to him. He had his hand up.
Sir, Haribans Jha from Nepal. I have a brief query. That is, you just mentioned one side of the picture, what Pakistan is doing in Afghanistan and the areas. But then I want to know from you what policy you have adopted to contain Pakistan. This is my question.
Thanks. I think, as far as I understand, your question was that what policy we undertake to contain Pakistan. Is it true? Yeah. Sir, just as you are aware of, we remain a victim of terrorism. Considering the price which Afghans paid since several years, it's very important to raise our concern all over whenever there is something to be shared. Our government, previous government, and also the current government was trying their best to take this issue to the United Nations National Security Council, to the rest of the world. Yes, we tried our best, but you know, the problem is not an easy one that only Afghans can contain it. Because of that, we raise our voice everywhere, and this is very important for us to talk about that issue here today as well.
Thank you, sir. My name is Sandhya Jain. I wanted to know, you have mentioned about Pakistan and its undermining the war on terror, which is led by the US. But you have not mentioned any role that China could have in strengthening the Pakistan obduracy in this matter, which is affecting India also. Thank you.
Ma'am, as you know, China is also our neighbors. We are trying to extend very good relation with China as well. In the past, China was thinking, or somehow they were misinformed by Pakistanis that whatever is happening in their Xinjiang or other area that's coming from Afghanistan. The only things which Afghanistan was able to convince China was that intelligence cooperation was started with China, and later on, they find out that most of these IOR terrorists were trained in Karachi of Pakistan, not in Afghanistan. And since that time, whatever analysis China have about Afghanistan is coming from Afghanistan, not from ISI in Pakistan. And that's a big achievement for Afghanistan. Right now, we are extending good relation. But for sure, the relation of Pakistan and China is more strategic and deep relation since long time. It will take time that we Afghans we are able to convince them to stop or convince China to convince Pakistan to stop supporting the terrorist networks inside Afghanistan.
I don't see a question. Yeah. Yes, please, the lady there in the middle.
Hi, sir. My name is Christine Fair, and I'm from the United States. So I think everyone in this room understands the Pakistan problem. I don't think we need to elaborate that. But I'm going to turn this question actually on Afghanistan. So for those of us that study insurgencies know that the Taliban wouldn't find such room to maneuver in Afghanistan if there were better governance. And I know it's really easy, and I myself blame Pakistan for many of Afghanistan's problems, but we know from history, the Pakistanis from 47 up to circa 1989 were trying to foment insurgency in Kashmir. And they couldn't do it until Indian governance completely bottomed out. So I'd like to hear what it is that you think your country can do to clean up your governance act. You know, the corruption is incredibly well known. You know the situation as well as I do. What can Afghanistan do to make itself a harder target by focusing upon governance and doing the things that we know from the literature makes insurgencies much more difficult to operate?
Yeah, thanks, ma'am. Yeah, definitely, you know, Pakistan is not the only issue in the region for Afghanistan. We also suffering a lot, Afghans are suffering a lot from having a weak governance. We can come up with 7 points that we in Afghanistan should consider it. But we need space for that, because when we are talking about fighting corruption, we should build up our security forces in law enforcement. while our law enforcement are busy with fighting with terrorism. Just, I can give you an example of 24-hour or 48 hours, last 48 hours. We lost almost 100 soldiers in ANA, Afghan National Security Forces, and also police in different parts of the country fighting terrorism. This is how we are spending all of our capital in the war on terror. We need some space to focus on governance. We need some space to focus on fighting corruption. We need some space to work on the more developmental activities as well. Right now, 57% of our budget has been used on the war on terror. This is a big challenge for us, but definitely we have our own problem. But the main problem is coming these terrorist extremists and Taliban or Haqqani or other groups coming from Pakistan. That's the main challenge for us.
Thank you very much. The gentleman there with the yellow scarf.
Assalamu alaikum. This is Sayyid Salman Chishti from Ajmer Dargah Sharif. I would just like to further the question from Christina, that the world knows about the time when Taliban destroyed the Bamiyans. And along with that, they also destroyed more than over 100 Sufi shrines, right from Mazar Sharif to Herat to Chishti Sharif. So after that, of course, there have been some organizations who restored some of those traditions and the shrines. So as of now, since you've been the former security advisor, as of now, what are the government policies in Afghanistan for these ideological warfares within Afghanistan, and so that these groups doesn't re-emerge to battle these lines?
Thanks. Actually, that was one of sad day for the history of Afghanistan when they destroyed the Buddha in Bamiyan, and also not just only that one, they have already destroyed several other valuable and historical assets of Afghanistan. Definitely, Afghanistan have a policy for that. Right now, Bamiyan is one of the biggest hub for tourists, tourists from inside Afghanistan and also from outside Afghanistan. This is key for us to keep our history, not just to make anybody happy. This is a part of our history. And yes, Taliban may try to damage some of these historical places, but as far as they pay a very, high cost of criticism, they were criticized by everybody at that time. So far, and recently, we are not hearing any damage to the historical places and also religious places. But definitely, Daesh or IS Khorasan, they may try to damage some of these areas, but Afghan government and Afghan security forces are committed to protect those areas.
Anybody else with a question? Please raise your hand. Yes, gentleman in the back.
Hello, my name is Jawad Torabi from IPCS. My question is that there has been a sense of unity and a common approach among the international community after the announcement of new US strategy. But on the other side, we see disunity in the Afghan government, both between central government and local governments, and on the other hand, between chief executive and president of Afghanistan. How do you think that would damage the international approach towards the conflict in Afghanistan? Thank you.
Yeah, this is very important because Afghanistan is a diverse country, and the unity in the government is key for success in the war on terror. The new strategy of United States war on terror in this region it's very important to pay attention to the political stability as well. We Afghans are a little bit worried about upcoming election. If we don't have acceptable election or better compared to the 2014, this is a big concern for us as well. Because of that, we are trying our best to convince our politicians. Means when I say it, we all Afghans are trying their best to convince their leadership and politicians to work towards consensus from now on till the election. The key point is that recently there was some dispute between the central government and also Governor Atta and the Balkh. Instead of using force, that dispute will be resolved. And that's a big progress and achievement, because if it was the past, I'm sure we will use gun against each other to resolve this problem. This is important to work together for the president and also Chief Executive Abdullah, and we already see the sign of these working together.
Yes, please.
Sir, good evening. My name is Nalin Prabhat. All of us are aware that the Quetta Shura runs the Taliban. And we also aware that the Quetta Shura is virtually a lapdog of ISI. The fact remains that whenever there's a democratically elected government in Pakistan, the army and the ISI are virtually completely unrestrained. There's no control over it from the elected leader's side. In this scenario, Saheb, has Afghanistan ever tried to engage with the Saudis to put some pressure on Pakistan? Because clearly, Chinese would not like to upset the Pakistanis. Thank you, sir.
Thanks. Yeah, definitely the main strategic thinker or the main leadership of Taliban or in Quetta and also in Peshawar, Miran Shah, even in Karachi, the way that they are operating, it's clear to everyone now that ISI is providing protection for all of them, for their leadership. And we know where was Mullah Omar and how he died in Karachi. And also Akhtar Mansour was another example who was killed in Balochistan. Osama bin Laden was also another example. The killing of Nasruddin Haqqani, brother of Sirajuddin Haqqani in Islamabad, that was another sign of that. There is no doubt they are protected by Pakistan, ISI, and MI. Another big evidence which Afghan government had is the arrest of Anas Haqqani, the brother of Siraj Haqqani, and still it's in custody of Afghanistan. Yes, as I mentioned, definitely we are sharing our concern with all our neighbors and also with the international community. It's also very clear these days some countries are trying to support Taliban, and they are considering Taliban as a defeating force for Daesh in the region. We are sharing all the intelligence and also all the information with them as well, that this is a wrong step, because they are the same in Afghanistan. Daesh in Afghanistan is not as Daesh in Syria and Iraq. These are changing the white flag to black flag. And we have evidence, we had evidence that Pakistan was forcing some of the Taliban to change their flag from white to black. The reason is that to reduce the pressure and to convince other countries that they are not behind Daesh and they are behind the Taliban, but Taliban had their local agenda. They don't have regional agenda. All those information and these concern has been shared not just with China, with Russians, with Iranians, with all other countries, because this is the way that Pakistan is playing. We are also concerned that the recent move of opening some consulates in some port of Pakistan, like Peshawar and Quetta, is a big concern to Afghanistan. I hope our neighbors will not consider or see Taliban as a defeating force for Daesh. They are the same.
Yes, there was a gentleman there. Can he get the mic, please?
Link between this group.
Put the proposal. Arrested or killed. The same fear is still there. They are waiting for spying for ISI. Then they reject the peace process. Exactly, we tried, Afghan government, previous and current one, tried their best, but so far we have not seen any sign of it. On the number of Daesh, as I mentioned, we don't see any sign of Daesh from Syria and Iraq and Afghanistan. Yes, there are some individuals, foreign fighters, who were part of different terrorist groups, like they were part of Islamic movement of Uzbekistan, they were part of Jund al-Khalifa or part of ATIM and some others. It doesn't mean that they are Daesh from Syria and Iraq. Most of these Daesh in Afghanistan, particularly in the south port, these are ex-TTP who were created by Pakistan and then who changed the flag from TTP to Daesh. And the main reason is, again, as I mentioned, to show to the region, to other countries, that Daesh is not under control of Pakistan, and they are blaming other country. And for this purpose, they are trying to gain support for Taliban as defeating force of Daesh. And they are passing or sharing always this analysis of that Afghan government is weak, they cannot defeat Daesh. Because of that, the neighboring country, the Central Asian country, should support Taliban to defeat Daesh. This is what they are playing. I can tell you that there is no sign of Daesh from Syria and Iraq and Afghanistan.
Thank you very much. And with that question, we will have to bring this session to a close. I want to conclude by thanking Sir again for a very interesting and comprehensive overview of the security situation in Afghanistan right now. Mr. Bansal.
I'll request Shri Jain Sinha to felicitate the Honorable Speaker by presenting him a token of our appreciation. I'll request Vice to present a token of our appreciation to Shri Jain Sinha. Thank you, sir. We'll be starting with the inaugural session in a minute's time. Kindly remain seated while the chairs are set up. अगर रखना है तो फिर दोनों साइड रखो।
नहीं नहीं फिर ठीक है, अभी ऐसा अच्छा लग रहा है ना।
हाँ अभी तो ठीक लग रहा है। वो उनकी मर्जी है, जहाँ से चाहें से ये कर सकते हैं। वहाँ पर सेकंड कुर्सी जो है ना राइट से, वो उनकी उधर से, इधर से दूसरी।
इज दिस ओके ना?
हाँ दीक्षा
चार बोतल्स।
I'll now request Shri Jayant Sinha to come onto the stage, please. I'll now request Shri Manohar Lal Khattar, Honorable Chief Minister of Haryana, to kindly come onto the stage, sir. I'll now request Dr. Yuvraj Khatiwada, Honorable Minister of Finance, Government of Nepal, to kindly come onto the stage, please. I'll now request Shri Rajnath Singh Ji, Honorable Union Home Minister, to kindly come onto the stage. May I now request all of you to kindly stand up for the national anthem.
अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
May I now invite Shri Jayant Sinha to give the introductory remarks.
Shri Rajnath Singh Ji, Honorable Union Minister of Home Affairs, Government of India, Dr. Shri Yuvraj Khatiwada Ji, Honorable Finance Minister, Government of Nepal, Shri Manohar Lal Khattar Ji, Honorable Chief Minister, Government of Haryana, distinguished conference delegates, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. The India Foundation is very pleased to welcome you to the Counter-Terrorism Conference 2018. The theme of the conference is Changing Contours of Global Terror. We are proud to welcome distinguished delegates from around the world who will engage in a series of absorbing and fascinating discussions over the next 2 days. The India Foundation has played an important role in sensitizing the global community on how India has suffered the brunt of state and non-state sponsored terror. The world focused on India only after 9/11, but India has seen terrorist attacks much before 9/11. Left-wing extremism and Islamic terror had caused huge loss of life and property to India, but every time India mentioned this on global platforms, it faced relentless counter-propaganda. By hosting the Counter-Terrorism Conference, the India Foundation has created greater awareness among the global community on the widespread tentacles of terrorism. All of us are suffering from this terrible scourge. But by working together, by pooling our intelligence, and through joint operations, we can and we must contain this deadly global menace. Thank you very much for attending this conference, and I once again warmly welcome you to the conference.
I'll now request Shri Manohar Lal Khattar, Honorable Chief Minister of Haryana, to deliver his welcome address.
भारत सरकार के गृह मंत्री आदरणीय श्री राजनाथ सिंह जी, नेपाल से पधारे वहाँ के मिनिस्टर ऑफ फाइनेंस डॉक्टर युवराज खाटीवाड़ा जी, हमारे केंद्र सरकार के मिनिस्टर ऑफ स्टेट फॉर सिविल एविएशन श्री जयंत सिन्हा जी, इस सेमिनार में पधारे विभिन्न देशों से आए हुए प्रतिनिधिगण व उपस्थित सभी सज्जन वृंद, भाइयों बहनों, सबसे पहले दुनिया के विभिन्न भागों से इस 4th काउंटर टेररिज्म कॉन्फ्रेंस में भाग लेने के लिए आए हुए सभी प्रतिनिधियों का मैं स्वागत करता हूं, अभिनंदन करता हूं। ये 3 दिवसीय सम्मेलन, मुझे इस बात की प्रसन्नता है कि हरियाणा में गुरुग्राम में एक ऐसे विषय पर जो इस समय अंतर्राष्ट्रीय महत्व का विषय है, इस विषय पर चर्चा करने के लिए लगातार 3 दिन यहाँ रहेंगे। मैं इस कार्यक्रम में पधारने वाले नेपाल राज्य के हमारे फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर श्री युवराज खाटीवाड़ा जी का भी बहुत बहुत अभिनंदन करता हूं। इंडिया फाउंडेशन ने इस कार्यक्रम को अपने हाथ में लिया है। हरियाणा सरकार के साथ हम लोग मिलकर के पिछले वर्ष भी इस कार्यक्रम को हमने किया था, इस वर्ष भी इस कार्यक्रम को हम कर रहे हैं। मैं इसको एक प्रकार से हमारे लिए एक ऐसा अवसर मानता हूं कि इस महत्वपूर्ण विषय के ऊपर चर्चा में हरियाणा सरकार का भी जो योगदान हो सके, उस योगदान को हमेशा हम करते रहेंगे। इसलिए आज इस कार्यक्रम में आप यहाँ आए, मैं इसके लिए इंडिया फाउंडेशन को बहुत बहुत हार्दिक बधाई और शुभकामना देता हूँ। मित्रों, ये जो विषय है, इस विषय की चिंता हम सब जताते हैं, क्योंकि अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर का एक प्रकार ये टेररिज्म जो है, ये दुनिया के सब लोगों को एक प्रकार से ऐसा कहना चाहिए चिंता में लाता है कि हमारी जो सामाजिक व्यवस्थाएं हैं, जिससे शांतिपूर्वक हम हर जगह हर देश में एक कानून व्यवस्था को बना करके राज्य शासन प्रशासन जिससे जनता को सुखी कर सकते हैं, उसमें टेररिज्म आतंकवाद एक बहुत बड़ी बाधा है। क्योंकि बहुत सी एनर्जी इसी में ठीक करने के लिए सब लोगों की लगी रहती है। ग्लोबलाइजेशन जैसे जैसे बढ़ रहा है, वैसा वैसा ये आतंकवाद का दायरा भी उसी हिसाब से बढ़ रहा है। सब देश इससे चिंतित हैं, खास करके भारतवर्ष में वर्षों का इसका इतिहास है। चाहे वो पंजाब का आतंकवाद हो, नॉर्थ ईस्ट में इंसर्जेंसी की मूवमेंट हो, नक्सलवाद से प्रभावित कुछ राज्य हमारे यहाँ बहुत समस्याएं, बहुत प्रॉब्लम्स ये सब फेस कर रहे हैं। दैनंदिन घटनाएं जम्मू कश्मीर से भी सुनने को मिलती हैं, चाहे घटनाएं मुंबई में आतंकवाद की हों, चाहे संसद के ऊपर हमले की बात हो। ऐसी सब घटनाओं ने हमको बहुत चिंतित किया है। लेकिन इसको कुल मिलाकर सब लोगों को मिल करके एक कोई ठोस रणनीति, एक स्ट्रेटजी ये हमको बनानी होगी, ताकि इसको हम कैसे काबू में कर सकें टेररिज्म को। अब उस रणनीति में चाहे वो एंटी टेरर मेथड हो, चाहे काउंटर टेरर मेथड हो, इन सब पर हमको यहाँ मैं समझता हूँ 3 दिन रह करके कोई ना कोई विचार यदि करेंगे तो निश्चित रूप से एक मानवता की बहुत बड़ी एक सेवा उसमें हो सकेगी, एक ठोस रणनीति के माध्यम से। हमको ध्यान में है हमारे देश के प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी ने पिछले दिनों ये कहा था, उन्होंने जो अपने विचार व्यक्त किए, उन्होंने कहा कि आतंकवाद कितना भयंकर है, कितना निर्दयी है, ये अब दुनिया भली भांति जान गई है। हजारों लोगों ने अपनी जान गंवाई है। आतंकवाद मानवता को चुनौती दे रहा है। इसलिए समय की मांग है कि जो भी मानवता में विश्वास करते हैं, दुनिया की सारी शक्तियों को मिलकर आतंकवाद से मिलकर मुकाबला करना होगा। इन लाइनों में जो एक संदेश है, मैं समझता हूं हम सब मिलकर के इस आतंकवाद का यदि मुकाबला करेंगे तो निश्चित रूप से शांति का माहौल बनेगा। हरियाणा यद्यपि इस आतंकवाद से सीधे सीधे तौर पर तो हमारे यहाँ इसका कोई प्रभाव ज़्यादा नहीं है, एक शांत प्रदेश है, लेकिन परोक्ष रूप में इसका जो डंस है आतंकवाद का, वो हमको भी झेलना पड़ता है। हरियाणा आबादी में भले ही देश का 2% है, लेकिन देश की रक्षा सुरक्षा में हमारे 10% कंट्रीब्यूशन है। वी हैव 10% कंट्रीब्यूशन इन डिफेंस फोर्सेस। तो हमारे यहाँ बहुत बड़ी संख्या में इस आतंक के कारण से नौजवान शहीद होते हैं। तो इस प्रकार ये जो एक कीमत जो चुकाने की बात हरियाणा की आती है, ये भी हम हमेशा ध्यान रखते हैं, ताकि इस टेररिज्म के ऊपर काबू पाया जाएगा तो उसमें इसका लाभ हमको भी इस प्रकार से होगा। आतंकवाद की जो नई जो इस प्रकार के एक पहलू आ गए हैं, उस पर भी हमको विचार करना चाहिए। जैसे साइबर टेररिज्म अब एक नए प्रकार का एक टेररिज्म है, और ये सोशल मीडिया में भी युवाओं को भड़काने का जो काम कई बार होता है, तो उसके कारण से युवा, चाहे वो धार्मिकता की एक अंधा यानी एक प्रकार का जो विचार है वो उनके अंदर फैलाया जाता है, उकसाया जाता है। तो ऐसी नए आयाम जो हैं उनके ऊपर भी ज़रूर हमको विचार करना चाहिए, ताकि आतंकवाद आगे न बढ़ सके। इसको किस प्रकार से कर्ब करना, इन सब तरीकों पर निश्चित रूप से विचार करेंगे। मैं पुनः, क्योंकि ये हरियाणा में कॉन्फ्रेंस हो रही है, तो हरियाणा की धरती पर आपका सबका अपनी ओर से, हरियाणा सरकार की ओर से बहुत बहुत अभिनंदन करता हूं। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
I will now request Dr. Yuvraj Khatiwada, Minister of Finance, Government of Nepal, to deliver his special address.
His Excellency Sri Rajnath Singh, Home Minister of India, His Excellency Sri Suresh Prabhu, Minister of Commerce and Industry, Sri Manohar Lal Khattar, Honorable Chief Minister of Haryana, Sri Jayant Sinha Ji, Excellencies, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. I am honored to represent my government and my country for this 14th edition of Counter-Terrorism Conference being held in Delhi. 4 years since its start, this flagship event has evolved into an important platform for security analysts, policymakers, intelligence experts, intellectuals, media persons, and other knowledgeable stakeholders to deliberate on how we, as individual societies and collectively, as the global communities, are going to tackle terrorism, which has undoubtedly been one of the most pervasive threats to peace and prosperity. Thank you, India Foundation, for being the architect of this important process. Thank you also for inviting me to be its part and providing an opportunity to share some of my humble thoughts. I have to extend my sincere solidarity to your endeavor, and on this I bring with me the best wishes of my Prime Minister, KP Sharma Oli, the Prime Minister of Nepal. Distinguished participants, terrorism is a menace not confined to a particular society, country, or a region. It is a global problem, permitting all sorts of boundaries and leaving everyone to be affected in one way or the other. No society is, in fact, new to incidents of terrorist bombing, target killing, assassinations, and other forms of violence. Terrorist barbaric acts have not spared even innocent children in schools or unarmed civilians gathered for prayers and festivals. Terrorism has been the cause of mass displacement of people at many places. Our generation has seen the extremes of all these sorts of barbarism. Terrorism doesn't only cause destruction of lives and properties, it seeks to uproot the very foundation of our human values and civilization. It seeks to forsake love and embrace hatred, fear and brutality, shatter hope and spread horror and bleakness. It disturbs society's progress, countries' development, and humanity's integrity and sense of ingenuity and sense of fraternity. Terrorism has resulted in the unnecessary burden of billions of dollars of resources of governments as fight against terrorism, and which has been a very costly venture. This precious resource could have otherwise gone for development works and reduced extreme poverty, which is the major problem in South Asia in particular. As said, terrorism is not a new phenomenon. Well, its manifestation and its tools and techniques might have evolved with change in the technology and pattern of lives. Its magnitude may have scaled up, but the underlying nature, character, and intent of terrorism have remained the same. We all have converged on the view that terrorism is an evil to be uprooted, but when it comes to taking required measures and resolute execution, the strength of our convergence has somehow dispelled and we have at times faltered. Distinguished participants, like rest of the world, terrorist violence is a key security challenge faced by our region too. The activities of larger network of terrorist organizations at global scale and their reported expansion in Asia-Pacific region demands extreme vigilance on our part to counter the threats and to ensure the security of our people in this region. With technological advancement, our capacity to tackle security threats has, of course, increased, but so has our vulnerability. In an age of cyberspace and internet exposure, terrorists do have new avenues and target points to victimize us and to disrupt our lives. Terrorist networks are trying to spread their wings all over the world, but we must be able to nab them and dismantle them. Acts of terrorism cannot be condoned. No pretext, be it political, ideological, or any other, can justify such senseless and horrific acts. It is of utmost importance that law enforcing machineries in all the countries cooperate and collaborate in identifying terrorists and defeating terrorism. We all must, in a united and unreserved manner, demonstrate commitment at the highest level to stop terrorist acts and bring perpetrators to justice. Dear colleagues, in this age of inevitable interconnectedness, mobility of people around the world is a reality. Safety, security, and welfare of every individual is our common responsibility and humanity's common concern. In this age of human mobility, impacts of terrorism can break the confines of our boundary. We should therefore be cognizant of the transnational nature of terrorism and should counter it resolutely with national, regional, and global actions and enhanced capabilities and sense of responsibility. Every country should have a stringent legislative framework to deter and disrupt all types of terrorist activities. Between governments and law enforcement agencies, close coordination and cooperation must be ensured, including the intelligence and technology sharing to enhance counterterrorism capability of ourselves. Legislative measures should be contemplated by proper counter-terrorist strategies that include tools to detect incidents of radicalization, possible recruitment for foreign terrorist fighters, exploitation of internet and social media platforms by terrorist organizations, misuse of borders, terrorist financing. Radicalization through social media is a rising threat. Cybersecurity should very much be our priority focus in this respect. We need to enhance our capacity to monitor and counter such activities as well. Ladies and gentlemen, Nepal unequivocally condemns terrorism in all its forms and manifestations, wherever, whenever, and for whatever purpose it occurs and wherever commits and the heinous acts. Nepal never allows its land to be exploited by any group trying to carry out terrorist activities anywhere in our region or beyond. We have underscored time and again that terrorism should never be used as a means to serve any interest. As a member of the United Nations, SAARC and BIMSTEC, Nepal has joined and implemented international and regional treaties on counterterrorism, including on aircraft safety, maritime safety, against tackling hostages, as well as the UN Security Council resolutions. Nepal remains fully committed to implementing them despite constraints of resources and technical capabilities. Within SAARC, Nepal has a notable track record of supporting the region's collective undertaking against terrorism. The region's first framework treaty in this regard, namely SAARC Convention on Suppression of Terrorism, was the outcome of third summit which Kathmandu had hosted. This, together with the 2006 additional protocol obliged number states to cooperate each other through consultations, exchange of information, intelligence, and expertise, and other measures to prevent terrorism, terrorist activities, as well as to criminalize financial support to terrorism. This anti-terrorism regime of SAARC has been complemented by SAARC Convention on Mutual Legal Assistance. In addition, SAARC member states have been cooperating on security matters through regular meetings at the level of Home Ministers, Home Secretaries, SAARC Terror Offensive Monitoring Desk, and SAARC Drug Offense Monitoring Desk. BIMSTEC has served as another important regional platform for us to act together on terrorism. In 2009, BIMSTEC member states entered into the Convention on Cooperation in Combating International Terrorism, Transnational Organized Crime, and Illicit Drug Trafficking. Likewise, BIMSTEC Convention on Mutual Assistance in Criminal Matters has also been adopted, requiring cooperation among member states in investigation and prosecution of crimes, including terrorism, drug and human trafficking, money laundering, cyber crimes, and other transnational crimes. Nepal has initiated process of ratifying both these instruments. Within BIMSTEC, meeting of National Security Advisors has now been institutionalized in addition to the already functioning Joint Working Group on Counterterrorism, providing a platform for regional cooperation in the areas of intelligence sharing and law enforcement, drug and human trafficking. I wish to recall in this context that the important Goa retreat of BIMSTEC, wherein our leaders conveyed a strong and unequivocal message against terrorism, against any kind of support to or glorification of terrorists. Distinguished participants, where is my own country in terms of national capacity and preparedness against terrorism then? We have enhanced security infrastructures, trained security personnel, so as to remain prepared to meet the emerging social demands, including prevention of any form of terrorist attack. Security wings are updated on the new forms of technology, and we have made efforts to provide them with required international exposure. In compliance with our international obligations on terrorist financing, we have established several institutions and agencies, including the Financial Intelligence Unit and the Department of Anti-Money Laundering under the Money Laundering Prevention Act. They are central national agencies assigned with the task of detecting, processing, and analyzing financial information and intelligence on suspected money laundering and terrorist financing activities, sharing suspicious cases to law enforcement authorities, and carrying forward investigation as well as prosecution. Nepal is fully committed to comply with the global norms of AML CFT and prevent any kind of financial transaction that helps any kind of terrorism. Finally, distinguished participants, we must accept that terrorism is not new to us and none of us is immune to it. Terrorism has Frankenstein that kills your people today and may kill mine in future because terrorism, as said, doesn't know boundary and is not guided by humanity and fraternity. It can be nobody's friend, and if we think otherwise, it is our grave illusion. And as long as terrorists continue to reveal in their monstrous chance in our territories, the world cannot be peaceful and secure. And as long as there is no peace and security, fulfilling our development goals will remain distant dream, whether we call them the Sustainable Development Goals or any other goals that we are all committed in the post-2015 Global Development Agenda. Our future, therefore, will depend on how resolutely we devise our collective mission to uproot terrorism from the world and how concertedly we calibrate our collective actions and intent. Will depend on how soon we'll be prepared to tear the veil of your terrorist is my freedom fighter sort of mentality and say with no ambiguity that terrorists are everyone's terrorist. The moment we free ourselves from this illusion, we'll no more be disagreeing, for example, in the United Nations on the long-pending Comprehensive Convention on International Terrorism. I do hope that this event will turn out to be yet another effort in that direction of collective convergence. On its part, Nepal will resolutely join hands with all countries in countering scourge of senseless acts of terrorism. I once again thank India Foundation for giving me and our government this opportunity to share our thoughts with the distinguished audience. I would also like to thank the Government of India for its gracious hospitality and warm welcome. We look forward to very fruitful discussion ahead in this important forum. Thank you. Thank you very much once again.
I'll now request Shri Rajnath Singh ji to release the proceedings of our last conference in form of a book. So we'll request a book release. Yes. I'll request the book edited by General Dhruv Katoch to be released by the Honorable Minister. I'll request General Katoch and the publisher of the book, Rajan Arya, to kindly come onto the stage. Thank you, sir. I'll now request Shri Rajnath Singh ji to deliver the inaugural address.
Honorable Chief Minister Haryana, Sri Manohar Lal ji Khattar, Honorable Minister for Finance Nepal, Sri Yuvraj Khatidar ji, and Honorable Minister for Civil Aviation, Sri Jain ji Sinha, and Sri Ram Madhav ji, a man who is very imaginative and a hard-working intellectual. Distinguished guests, participants from across the world, academicians, experts from various fields, officers from paramilitary forces, brothers, and sisters and friends from the media. I extend you all a very warm welcome to the 4th Counter-Terrorism Conference this evening, being organized by the India Foundation. It is my privilege to address the august gathering comprising intellectuals from various spectrum of excellence. I am indeed very delighted that the 4th conference today is deliberating on the most important and crucial thing, changing contours of the global terror. I had gone through the agenda that would be unfolding during the next 2 days and found the topics of discussions indeed worthy and very relevant in the context of today's challenge. Brothers and sisters, at this outset, let me reiterate that terrorism indeed has become a global phenomenon, posing major threat to intellectual peace, security, and stability. Access to advanced technology, including cyberspace, sophisticated communications, global funding, and military-grade weapons has given such groups enormous strength. It is no wonder that terrorism constitutes one of the principal challenges at the global, regional, and national levels and has become a key factor in the national security planning. Providing sponsorship and safe havens have further played a major role in the phenomenal growth of the global terrorism. In addition, state support has granted terrorist groups access to resources, guidance, and logistics, which would normally be beyond their capabilities. Any effort to counter the activities of terrorist groups carries the danger of placing the victim nation in direct confrontation with the host nation and its resources. In the recent few years, perception of the global terrorism has undergone a massive makeover with the rise of violent armed terror groups, especially in the Middle East, South Asia, and African continent. This phenomenon could be attributed to the diminishing control in the terror space of Al-Qaeda leadership, which just a decade ago was the face of terrorism. The shift of Al-Qaeda network from the Middle East to South Asia is a phenomenon which is serious concern for India. The Boko Haram IS alliance primarily seeks to enhance the idea of the global jihad with an aggressive brand of terror and footprint of caliphate into through innovative measures. The new face of global terrorism can be most vividly seen in the dramatic change and growth in its infrastructure. The terrorist movement has come a long way from selective recruitment in secret cells to mass recruitment. In addition, the source of recruitment and training is no longer confined to the affected areas, but spans the entire globe with a phenomenal upgradation of weaponry. And funds and finance channels are no longer confined to resources locally mobilized through individual contributions, extortions, and crime. Brothers and sisters, radicalization of populace, particularly youth, is another trend and one of the most challenging problems being faced the world over. Several countries in the world have identified this problem and have taken measures to check and control the process of radicalization, and I am happy to state that India has timely busted some models that were planning to orchestrate terrorist attacks on her soil. State-of-the-art communication systems are available to the terrorist, which is at times better than the ones being used by the counter-terrorist agencies. access to advanced technology, including cyberspace, internet, electronic mail, etc., has provided terrorist groups with a global communication system. It has also provided such groups with an immensely destructive tool which can be potentially crippling for technology-based economies. Another relatively new dimension is the networking of terrorist groups with the criminal underworld, including organized crime gangs, gun runners, smugglers, drug peddlers, with hawala and parallel banking channels being used for ensuring global flows of finance. It has enabled global terrorist groups to use the infrastructure and terrain knowledge of local outfits for launching attacks in countries despite having no presence in the area. We have kept a keen watch on the growth of ISIS and their ways of using social media as a key tool for ideological indoctrination, recruitment, and networking by targeting young generation. The potential threat posed by IS are large-scale radicalization of a section of youth throughout the world, rise in lone wolf and terror attacks by returning foreign fighters to their home countries. The terror attacks in the Australia and France are telling examples of such threat. The ongoing propaganda by IS has significantly altered jihadi discourse in India, which so far was rooted in grievances against the Indian society. I am, however, happy that Indian social fabric has not been affected by the emergence of Islamic State, and I am sure this will not have any further impact in our country. Friends, the events of September 11, 2001 marked a watershed in the march of international action against global terrorism. India has consistently taken steps to intensify and strengthen international cooperation through a variety of means. Terrorism in all forms, including left-wing terrorism, insurgency, etc., poses a challenge on national sovereignty of India, and it already faces a serious challenge due to relentless efforts of Pak-sponsored anti-India Islamic groups like Lashkar-e-Toiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, Houthi, and Hizbul Mujahideen. Emergence of India at the global level is also being challenged by the terrorist groups due to its vibrant economy and plural character. Devising a strategy to counter these diverse trends is an extremely complex task, which I expect this conference to debate. I am happy to state that India has taken steps for setting up joint working groups on counter-terrorism matters with key countries, bilateral treaties on mutual legal assistance in criminal matters to facilitate investigation, collection of evidence, transfer of witnesses, location and action against proceeds of crimes, etc., have been signed with other countries. Friends, I take this opportunity to inform this august audience that this government has placed security and safety as its top priority. We have identified several key areas and located enough budgetary resources to address this issue. We have boosted the security-related infrastructure at the border management by launching new schemes and have been able to successfully minimize cross-border infiltration. Similarly, we have allocated substantial funds to the police modernization programs and better response mechanisms. We have raised regional hubs of NSG battalions in important strategic locations to meet any unforeseen challenges. Having realized the importance of funds and the necessity to curb its flow, this government introduced demonetization to choke the funding patterns of various terrorist outfits and effectively curb the expansionist designs of these outfits. Brothers and sisters, we have created a new division in the Home Ministry exclusively to deal with the counter-terrorism. Having realized the importance of funds for the growth of terrorist organizations and the necessity to curb its flow, this government introduced demonetization and got raids conducted by security agencies to choke the funding patterns of various terrorist outfits and effectively curb the expansionist design of these outfits. The Government of India, in tandem with the state governments, has adopted a multi-pronged approach to deal with the emerging situation. What we need is a sustained, united effort to identify the terror modules operating in the globe and neutralize them. Only then our dream of new India can be realized, which aims to eliminate terrorism completely. Besides, we have taken a slew of developmental agenda to further curb the spread of terrorism. I believe this government has successfully delivered on this front in the form of special projects such as road requirement plan, improvement of rail connectivity, installation of mobile towers, improvement of education and health infrastructure, financial inclusion, among others. The success is visible in the sharp decline of violence, be it in Jammu Kashmir, be it in Northeast, be it in LWE affected areas. Besides, we have taken a slew of developmental agenda to further curb the spread of terrorism. I believe this government has successfully delivered on this front in the form of special projects such as road requirement plan, improvement of rail connectivity, installation of mobile towers, improvement of educational health infrastructure, financial inclusion, among others. The success is visual. I'm sure this conference would deliberate on the various issues it has flagged, which are indeed important and serious, and recommend measures to counter them. What we need is cooperation and coordination from members' countries to make this globe safer and secure, where every citizen is free and is able to walk with heads held high. I wish the 4th Counter-Terrorism Conference a grand success and congratulate all of you in putting together such a wonderful program. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
I'll now request Shri Manohar Lal Khattar, Honorable Chief Minister of Haryana, to present a memento to Shri Rajnath Singh Ji, Honorable Home Minister. Wait. I'll now request Shri Manohar Lal Khattar, Honorable Chief Minister of Haryana, to present a memento to Dr. Yuvraj Khatiwada, Minister of Finance, Government of Nepal. I'll now request Shri Jayant Sinha to present a memento to Shri Manohar Lal Khattar, Honorable Chief Minister of Haryana. Thank you, sir. I'll now request Major General Dhruv Katoj, Director, India Foundation, to present a vote of thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, namaskar. It is my proud privilege to deliver the vote of thanks in this, the fourth Counterterrorism Conference, CTC 2018, being organized by India Foundation. We are indeed privileged to have had the honor of listening to the views of the Honorable Home Minister of India, Shri Rajnath Singh, the Honorable Minister of Finance, Government of Nepal, Shri Yuvraj Khatiwada, the Honorable Chief Minister of Haryana, Shri Manohar Lal Khattar, and the Honorable Minister of State for Civil Aviation, Government of India, Shri Jayant Sinha, who is also Director, India Foundation. First of all, I express my sincere thanks and appreciation to the Honorable Home Minister and the other dignitaries on the dais for kindly consenting and thereafter releasing the India Foundation book on counterterrorism, which covered the proceedings of the third CTC. For all of you who are present here and who desire a copy of the book, it is available outside on sale. To the Honorable Home Minister, our grateful thanks for consenting to deliver the inaugural address. We thank you, sir, for your inspiring address and also for the support given by you and the Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India, in hosting this conference. Indeed, your wholesome support has been forthcoming each time India Foundation hosted this conference, the first time in 2015, till now, the fourth edition of the CTC. I also take this opportunity to thank the Honorable Minister of Finance, Government of Nepal, Shri Yuvraj Khatiwada, for taking time off to be with us here today. We are aware, sir, that a new government has been installed in Nepal, and we are all very well aware of your very busy schedule. Thank you still for taking the time to share your views with us and for your very inspiring address. To the Honorable Chief Minister of Haryana, Shri Manohar Lal Khattar, our grateful thanks for hosting this conference along with India Foundation. We thank you, sir, and the Government of Haryana for your unstinted support, which began during CTC 2017 and has continued this year in CTC 2018. Indeed, it is because of such support that the India Foundation CTC is now an event which receives international acclaim and is looked forward to by all who are involved in the fight against terrorism. Our thanks also to the Honorable Minister of State, Civil Aviation, Shri Jayant Sinha ji, who is also Director, India Foundation. Your support, sir, indeed extends to all events of India Foundation, and we are truly grateful and honored. Finally, to all our distinguished speakers and delegates from across the continents and from all parts of India, thank you for being a part of CTC 2018. We look forward to your inputs over the next 2 days to make this event both meaningful and memorable. Before I close, just a small announcement. Tomorrow we start at 9 a.m. sharp. I would request all of you to kindly be present here at 8:45. And finally, please join us for dinner, which is laid on outside. Namaskar, Jai Hind.
I would also like to present a momentum to the India Foundation for this successful program.
The government of Haryana is organizing a cultural performance for us. So you can have your dinner outside and bring your plates inside and enjoy the performance also.
जी check.
check.
यहाँ से लगाना शुरू करो उधर तक, इनके डांस होने के बाद उधर तक, यहाँ से ऐसे लगाना एल में, यहाँ ले आओ, यहाँ आगे, यहाँ पे, यहाँ ले आओ, यहाँ आगे ले आओ और आगे ले आओ, ये यहाँ बस, कोई पीछे मत छुपा, बेटा थोड़ा सा उधर हो जाओ, थोड़ा सा, बस बस मेरे पास है, मेरे पास है। इनका डांस एक ही है ना? ये देखो सर, hello. All the respected guests are invited and requested to sit here in front of stage and enjoy the cultural show from Haryana Cultural Department, where the Chief Minister sir is here. After some time, maybe he will be sitting in front of us and enjoy the program along with you. So you can enjoy your dinner along with the music, masti, dance, dhamal, and all songs of Haryanvi folk culture. Thanks very much.
आपका माइक वो मिला? हेलो, हेलो, हेलो।
पहले म्यूजिक से एंट्री होगा, फिर तो सैम्पलर यूज कर, क्योंकि कुछ सीन साहब होते तो फिर मैं वो थोड़ा सेंसिटिव करता हूँ। भाई बेटा और इधर कर ले, थोड़ा सा इधर कर ले, ऐसे से मैं एक क्या आप इकट्ठा बैठो, थोड़ा सा और आगे कर ले। हाँ ठीक है बेटा, और इधर आ जाओ।
हेलो, बोला। सभी गेस्ट महानुभावों से नम्र निवेदन है कि कृपया अंदर हॉल में आके कल्चरल इवनिंग का लुत्फ उठाएं। हेलो। एक सॉन्ग, एक हरियाणवी सॉन्ग आप लोगों के सामने पेश कर रहे हैं हरियाणा की तरफ से। कीप इंजॉय। ट्रैक प्लीज, ट्रैक।
हरियाणा एक, हरियाणवी एक, सादा विचार बड़ा ही नेक, जब जी चाहे आके देख। हरियाणा एक, हरियाणवी एक, दुनिया में हो दुनिया में हो गया नाम हमारे हरियाणे का। हो थारे आने तो बढ़ गया मान हमारे हरियाणे का। हरियाणे तो बढ़ गया मान हमारे हरियाणे का। नई उड़ान ये उड़ता चाले, स्वर्ण शिखर पे चढ़ता चाले। सारे जग में एक ठिकाना, बढ़ता जावे हमारा हरियाणा। वचन से सुबह हो शाम, बस नाम कमाने का। ओ तारे आने तो बढ़ गया मान हमारे हरियाणे का। हरियाणे तो बढ़ गया मान हमारे हरियाणे का। सात समंदर पार थारी हो मेहरी बिना हर सुखे कुए घाट हो राम जी हो राम जी हो राम जी हो राम जी तीजा भी जाली सूखी गौएं भी मरली भूखी तीजा भी जाली सूखी गौएं भी मरली भूखी राम जी बता दे कदी बरसेगा 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 ताने पपी है ने ऐसी छेड़ी बुलबुल मचावे शोर ताने पपी है ने ऐसी छेड़ी बुलबुल मचावे शोर मद मस्ती में कोयली गावे मद मस्ती में कोयली गावे छाई घटा घनी घोर छाई घटा घनी घोर हिरे रे 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 हिरे रे 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 हिरे रे 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 हिरे रे 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 हिरे रे 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 हिरे रे 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 हिरे रे 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 हिरे रे 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 घटा छाई से घन घोर पानी बरसे गाजी तोड़ घटा छाई से घन घोर पानी बरसे गाजी तोड़ बादल उठा रे छोरो बादल उठा रे छोरो भारी होगी मन की चाही हिरर घनी घोर घटा से छाई भारी होगी मन की चाही हिरर घनी घोर घटा से छाई रही पाट बिजली घन में देख बूंद के मोती सबके उठे लोर बदन में देख बूंद के मोती सबके उठे लोर बदन में प्यास बुझी प्यासी धरती की मदमस्ती में घिर गई छेड़ी कान पपी है ने बुलबुल बगाने गिर गई प्यास बुझी प्यासी धरती की मदमस्ती में घिर गई ओ छेड़ी कान पपी है ने बुलबुल बगा में गिर गई ना रही समाई तने में ना रही समाई तने में में देख बूंद के मोती सबके उठे लोर बदन में देख बूंद के मोती सबके उठे लोर बदन में इंद्र देवन ला दिए ठाठ कद की देखा थे हम बात इंद्र देवन ला दिए ठाठ कद की देखा थे हम बाट रे इब नाचो थम गाओ इब झूम झूम के रे इब नाचो गाओ रे चौकर दे हरियाली छाई फसल करे सिंगार चौकर दे हरियाली छाई फसल करे सिंगार करी राम ने मौज भरे से अंगन के भंडार फसल करे सिंगार भरे से अंगन के भंडार फसल करे सिंगार भरे से अंगन के भंडार आज लहर खुशी की आई रे हमारी होगी मन की चाही रे आज लहर खुशी की आई रे हमारी होगी मन की चाही रे आज लहर खुशी की आई रे हमारी होगी मन की चाही रे आज लहर खुशी की आई रे हमारी होगी मन की चाही रे आज लहर खुशी की आई रे हमारी होगी मन की चाही रे आज लहर खुशी की आई रे हमारी होगी मन की चाही रे
Hello, 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 check, hello. Hello. Hello, hello. Hello, mic check, hello.
Hello, check. Hello, check. Check.
Hello.
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 Hello, check. Hello, check. Hello.
Hello. Hey. Hello.
Hello, check. Hello, check.
Check.
Hello, check. Hello, check.
Hello.
कौन सा आवाज है?
Check.
पोडियम बंद.
Hello, check.
Hello.
Check.
Good evening to all of you, and you are enjoying right now the Haryanvi folk night. After this program, I would like to say to all of you, please, आप लोग give a big apologize for a big star of Haryana, Mr. Gajendra Phogat. मैं चाहूंगा जोरदार तालियों से आप लोग एक बार स्वागत करते हैं, फिर मैं उनको बीच में बुलाना चाहूंगा आपके बीच. He is the rock star of the Haryana market, and there are a lot of songs in the market. These are famous songs in abroad way also, like Sakrali Koti, Rees Bhagat Singh ki, and some other songs. I would like to invite with the great music and with the apologize, please, Mr. Gajendra Phogat.
Check. Hello. Check. Check.
I welcome all of you from the different parts of India as well as country, abroad and Asia. Hope you are enjoying your dinner along with the music of Haryana. You have seen this Haryanvi cultural dance along with Haryanvi folk singing. So I'm presenting my song on terrorism. It shows that terrorism is not fruitful in any part of this world. In spite of our working, we can ignore it and choose a right way to go to the God, to go to the development of this world. So, enjoy your dinner. I would like to start my song, if you permit me. Hello, 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 check, check, hello, mic check, hello, mic check, hello, mic check. हल्का सा शार्प कर दीजिए, बेस बहुत ज़्यादा है, हल्का सा. It's a nice arrangement. I would like to thank Shiv Kumar Sharma ji. He is my elder brother. मुझे आशा है कि आप लोग हिंदी समझते होंगे, तो मैं हिंदी में अगर गाऊं तो शायद कोई आपको आपत्ति नहीं होगी. आप अपना डिनर भी एंजॉय करते रहिए, हम अपना संगीत एंजॉय करते हैं. बहुत अच्छा साउंड है, साउंड को भी बहुत थैंक्स करता हूँ. बस थोड़ा सा मेरा बेस कम कर दीजिए, हल्का सा शार्प कर दीजिए. सुन 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 मेरे नन्हे सुन, सुन 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 मेरी मुन्नी सुन, प्यार की गंगा बहे देश में एक रहे. खत्म काली रात हो, रोशनी की बात हो, रोशनी की बात हो, जिंदगी की बात हो, बात हो इंसान की, बात हिंदुस्तान की. अभी कुछ टाइम पहले हमें खबर मिली थी कि पाकिस्तान में 120 से ज्यादा बच्चों को कत्लेआम कर दिया था आतंकवादियों ने पेशावर के नजदीक एक स्कूल में. और सबसे ज्यादा दुख हमारे एशियन कंट्रीज को ही हुआ था. हमें लगा था कि कल को हमारे बच्चे के साथ भी ऐसा हो सकता है. तो मेरा एक गीत उन बच्चों को समर्पित है, और इसके साथ साथ दूसरा गीत भी मैं इसी स्केल पे गाऊंगा, इसी राग में गाऊंगा. सुन 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 मेरे मन्ने सुन, सुन 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 मेरे नन्हे सुन, प्यार की गंगा बहे देश में एक रहे. खत्म काली रात हो, रोशनी की बात हो, रोशनी की बात हो, जिंदगी की बात हो, बात हो इंसान की, बात हो जहान की. कैसे हैं वो लोग जो बम बनाते हैं, कैसे हैं वो लोग जो बम बनाते हैं, इनसे अच्छा तो कीड़े हैं जो रेशम बनाते हैं. बात हो इंसान की, बात हिंदुस्तान की. सारा भारत ये कहे प्यार की गंगा बहे, सारा भारत ये कहे प्यार की गंगा बहे, प्यार की गंगा बहे दुनिया में एक रहे, प्यार की गंगा बहे दुनिया में एक रहे. खत्म काली रात हो, रोशनी की बात हो, रोशनी की बात हो, जिंदगी की बात हो, बात हो इंसान की, बात
प्यार की गंगा बहे, देश में एका रहे। सारा भारत ये कहे, प्यार की गंगा बहे, प्यार की गंगा बहे, दुनिया में एका रहे। अब न दुश्मनी पले, अब न कोई घर जले, अब नहीं उजड़े सुहाग, अब नहीं पहले ये आग, अब न हो बच्चे अनाथ, अब न हो नफरत की आग। सारे मिलके ये कहे, प्यार की गंगा बहे, प्यार की गंगा बहे, दुनिया में एका रहे। सारा भारत ये कहे, प्यार की गंगा बहे। सुन 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 मेरे नन्हे सुन, सुन 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 मेरी मुन्नी सुन, प्यार की गंगा बहे, देश में एका रहे। अरे खत्म काली रात हो, रोशनी की बात हो, रोशनी की बात हो, जिंदगी की बात हो इंसान की, बात हिंदुस्तान की। कलम की जो जगह थी वो वही है। जब पाकिस्तान में 120 बच्चों को मार दिया गया, जब सीरिया जैसे देश में ISI ने छोटे छोटे बच्चों का कत्लेआम किया, तब मुझे लगा शिव भाई साहब कि ये जो छोटे छोटे बच्चे हैं, ये अपने भगवान को, अपने गॉड को, अपने ईश्वर को, अपने अल्लाह को, अपने रब को ऊपर जाके जरूर शिकायत करेंगे कि कैसी दुनिया में हमें भेज दिया। हमने तो किसी का कुछ बिगाड़ा भी नहीं था, फिर हमें क्यों मार दिया गया? हमारे साथ क्या दुश्मनी थी? हम तो बहुत छोटे थे, हमें भी क्यों मारा गया? तब जाके ये गाना मन से निकला। कलम की जो जगह थी वो वही है, कलम का नाम तक बाकी नहीं है। कलम की नोक पे नुक्ता है कोई, कलम के आगे सर झुकता है कोई। वो जिस बचपन में थोड़ा और जीना था, वो जिसने माँ तुम्हारा ख्वाब छीना था। मुझे माँ, एक बच्चा कह रहा है, मुझे माँ उससे बदला लेने जाना है। मुझे दुश्मन के बच्चों को पढ़ाना है, मुझे दुश्मन के बच्चों को पढ़ाना है। मुझे माँ उससे बदला लेने जाना है, मुझे दुश्मन के बच्चों को पढ़ाना है, मुझे दुश्मन के बच्चों को पढ़ाना है। अब वो छोटा सा बच्चा, उसकी हालत देखा, वो जिसको सोच के सोती नहीं माँ, जिन बच्चों को मार दिया गया। आज I was reading a news in Florida, USA. A 10-year chap, a 10-year-old boy, he make his wasiyat. उसने अपनी एक वसीयत बनाई. He wrote in school, after my death, my play game should be given to my friend, but my clothes should be given to my father and mother. 10-10 साल के बच्चे अपनी वसीयत बना रहे हैं, उन्हें लग रहा है कि हमें कोई मार देगा. ऐसे जो बच्चे जिन्हें आतंकवादियों ने मार दिया, उनके माँ बाप की व्यथा बोल रहा, वो
जिसको सोच के सोती नहीं माँ, किताबें देख कर रोती रही माँ, है किसकी वापसी की राह तकते, है दरवाजा खुला माँ बाप रखते, जो सब लोगों की नजरों से गिरा था, न था इंसान न उसका कोई खुदा था, मुझे माँ उससे बदला लेने जाना है, मुझे दुश्मन के बच्चों को पढ़ाना है, मुझे दुश्मन के बच्चों को पढ़ाना है, मुझे माहौल से बदला लेने जाना है, मुझे दुश्मन के बच्चों को पढ़ाना है, मुझे दुश्मन के बच्चों को पढ़ाना है। और देखिए, जो बच्चे आतंकवाद की भेंट चढ़ गए उनके बारे में कुछ कहते हैं। आइए मिलकर हम प्रण करें कि जब भी आतंकवाद का साया हमारे देश या दुनिया में पड़ेगा, हम चाहे सोशल मीडिया के माध्यम से चाहे किसी भी माध्यम से उस आतंकवाद का विरोध जरूर करेंगे, क्योंकि अगर आपके पड़ोसी के घर में कोई दिक्कत है और आपको नींद आ रही है तो अगली बारी आपकी है। सोच लीजिएगा, हमारे पड़ोसी देश में कोई दिक्कत है और हम शांति से सो रहे हैं तो समझ लीजिएगा अगली बारी हमारे देश की है। इसलिए उन बच्चों के बारे में सोचिए जो आतंकवाद की भेंट चढ़ गए, स्कूल में जिन्हें गोली से मार दिया गया, जो डर के सामने हंसता गया है, जो अपना छोड़ के बसता गया है, वो बच्चा जो डर के सामने हंसता गया है, जो अपना छोड़ कर बसता गया है, एक ऐसी कहानी लिख गया वो, किताबों में निशानी रख गया वो माथा चूमने वाला लहू था, वो जिसने ख्वाब का भी खून किया था, मुझे माहौल से बदला लेने जाना है, मुझे दुश्मन के बच्चों को पढ़ाना है, मुझे दुश्मन के बच्चों को पढ़ाना है, मुझे माहौल से बदला लेने जाना है, मुझे दुश्मन के बच्चों को पढ़ाना 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 है, पढ़ाना है, पढ़ाना है, मुझे दुश्मन के बच्चों को पढ़ाना है। वादा कीता कि जिंद तेरी खुशियां नाल भर दूं, कहंदी मैनू दामन तेरे खुशियां नाम कर दूं, ना तू वादा पूरा कीता ना तू चन ही ले आया, कहती कैदी से बन के घर में यो कैसा चढ़ा मकान। एक स्केल ऊपर 5 मैं बिकॉज आप हरियाणा में आए हैं और आज पूरी दुनिया में एक बहुत बड़ी समस्या चल रही है। आज से 30 साल के बाद पूरी दुनिया की जितनी भी नदियां हैं उनका 60% से ज्यादा पानी सूख चुका होगा। एक टाइम था जब आप लोग नदी में नाव में घूमते थे तो आपके पैरों को पत्थर नहीं लगते थे। यू कैन नोटिस अभी आप हमारे माँ गंगा नदी में या यमुना नदी में जाएं या सरस्वती नदी में तो कहीं ना कहीं आपके पैरों को पत्थर लगने लग गए हैं। रीजन ये है कि नदियों का पानी बहुत कम हो रहा है और ये दुनिया की सबसे बड़ी त्रासदी बनने वाली है। 30 साल के बाद अगर युद्ध होगा तो पानी पे होगा। तो मैं चाहता हूँ कि आप सभी लोग अपने अपने देश में अपने अपने भारत के अलग अलग कोनों में ये संदेश लेके जाएं कि हमें प्रदूषण से बचना है, क्योंकि पानी इसलिए कम हो रहा है। पानी इसलिए कम नहीं होता कि ग्लेशियर पिघल रहे हैं, पानी इसलिए कम होता है कि हमारे पेड़ कट रहे हैं। जितने ज्यादा पेड़ रहेंगे तो पानी रहेगा। प्रदूषण कम करने के लिए हमें अपने घरों में गमले रखने पड़ेंगे, अपने बहुत काम करना पड़ेगा। मैं सेक्टर में रहता हूं और मुझे लगता है कि जहां मैं रह रहा हूं सर आई वुड लाइक टू रिक्वेस्ट यू प्लीज हैव ए सीट। आप लोग जो खड़े हैं अगर आप बैठ जाएं तो बहुत अच्छा लगेगा। ये लाइट भी आप ऑन कर दीजिए प्लीज। और जो ऑर्गेनाइजर है वो जितनी डिग्निटरी हैं उन्हें बैठने के लिए रिक्वेस्ट करेंगे तो मुझे अच्छा लगेगा। थैंक यू वेरी मच। मैं एक गाना सुनाता हूँ, ये अंतिम गाना है मेरा। कैदी से बन के घर में जो सर थोड़ा सा रिवर्ब और डिले डाल देंगे प्लीज। थोड़ा सा रिवर्ब और डिले डाल दीजिए और लाइट्स को ऑन कर दीजिए प्लीज। थैंक यू वेरी मच, यू आर सो स्वीट। आप बहुत अच्छे लोग हैं। हल्का सा डिले और रिवर्ब डालेंगे प्लीज। अमन जी आप अपना काम संभालिए। आज की मशीनी जिंदगी हमें मुंह चिढ़ाती है, ना ये सोती है ना ये हमें जगाती है। और मेरे गांव के छोटे से आंगन में जब भी धूप आती है तो वो भी मुस्कुराती है। सो आप लोग धूप बनाने वाले लोग हो, दुनिया कितनी भी तरक्की कर ले उजाला बनाया जा सकता है, धूप नहीं बनाई जा सकती। लेकिन आप महंगे लोग धूप बनाते हो। एज ए कलाकार एक आर्टिस्ट के तौर पे मैं आपको थैंक्स करता हूँ कि इतने बढ़िया प्रांगण में मुझे गाने का मौका दिया। माननीय सीएम साहब को मैं बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करता हूँ। हमारे देश के गृह मंत्री राजनाथ सिंह जी को भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करता हूँ कि वो आए और इस कार्यक्रम की शोभा बढ़ाई। कैदी से बन के घर में जो कैसा चढ़ा मकान, ना यार झकी जंगड़े लाए ना यार रोशनदान। कैदी से बन के घर में जो कैसा चढ़ा मकान, ना यार झकी जंगड़े लाए ना यार रोशनदान। खोल दे दरवाजे ने इसमें खेलन खावन दे। मैं तेरे गांव की हवा गजेंद्र भीतर आवन दे, मने भीतर आवन दे, भीतर आवन। आजकल ऐसे घर बन गए जहां पे हवा भी नहीं आ सकती। तो मेरे गांव की हवा आई और मुझे क्या कहती है, कैसी खोजी तने चढ़ाई बगड़ सामा पेटी लाई। बूढ़े हो गया कित पीवे कित बालक खेले लुगम में जाई। बड़ा टुकड़िया घालती तू मने सुनावल दे, मैं तेरे गांव की हवा जिंदर भीतर आवन दे बेटा। ये करवी मेरी दादी शानी कड़े से पीठा कड़े मधानी। नहीं कड़ा सा सकी मटका करे कड़े कुएं का पानी।